Hi, I'm Shane, and welcome to the ComX or AusComX Drink and Draw. Hello, everyone. Over to you, Rob.
Oh, hi, Shane. How are you, buddy? I've got new glasses. I'm wearing glasses for the first time ever, and they're all crooked because my face is crooked. So I was trying to sort that out. I didn't realize we started. So up in the top there, we have the lucky son of a gun, Peter Fairfax. We are working together on a book. We've never met before. This is the first time. Hey, Pete.
Hey, Rob. Good to meet you face to face, finally.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Next to Pete, fresh up a successful young Rufus Kickstarter, is Lana Luca's mummy, Lauren Marshall.
That's me. Hi.
We have the toilet man and the bread man back together again. It's Kieran Jack.
Good night, Kieran.
The fair dinkum man with the big bongos, it's Dave Dye.
I'm jealous.
Billabong, Torn, and Red Gum look cool because of one man, and that's Peter Lawson. And then we have Disney and KFC's Alex Major. And our special guest this week is Gary Chaloner, whose character we are drawing Flash Damingo.
Good to see
Gary,
you again.
can you start us off with a story maybe about Flash's origins and maybe your journey through your creative life and all that sort of stuff?
Oh boy. How long's this show for?
As long as you need, mate.
Flash was probably first created back in the mid 80s. He's quite old now, and I suppose a big inspiration for the Flash character and personality was Cerebus the Aardvark by Dave Sim. I was quite taken not only with the way Sim would design a page and tell a story, but I like the idea of a short, disgruntled, odd creature being an aardvark, being out of place in a world and just being a bit of a bastard. So that was a huge inspiration for the personality and the rationale behind Flash's movements. So instead of a sword and sorcery character, I went in the directions of a Space Ranger science fiction kind of character, Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers style of things, but in the form of an Australian platypus. So it was a anthropomorphic version of that character there. So, and he decided to. I wove him into the Jackaroo and Cyclone stories back in the 80s, and he hasn't gone away yet. So he's stuck around.
Also, the Jackaroo came first, did he?
They sort of came into the stories about. No, in fact, now that I'm remembering, because it was so long ago. Flash was first. Flash actually was introduced in the stories with the same character, Harry Patterson, an old grizzled Sydney policeman from King's Cross, and he got involved back in the day. And I do believe one of the first printed stories with Flash in it was him crashing down to Earth in the middle of a Sydney Swans training match. So there was a little bit of an AFL angle there too, back when. Who used to own the Swans back in the day? Dr.
Edelson.
Edelson. Yeah, exactly right. Thanks, Dave. Yeah. So when he was around, and who was that player that had the tight shorts and long blonde hair?
Warwick Kappa.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Brain.
I've unfortunately met Warwick Kappa. He's pretty much what you'd expect.
Yeah. So that was the very early origins of Flash, and over the years he's developed into a more of a crusty, conniving. You really wouldn't trust him as far as you could throw him kind of character, which is interesting to play with the cute physicality of the character versus the fact that he's such an untrustworthy bastard.
Yeah. What brought you to comics in the first place, Gary?
Sorry, what was that?
What brought you to comics in the first place?
Oh boy, in the blood, really. Sort of grew up reading them. A lot of the Marvels from the 70s. My brother Peter brought them into the house, and he had really nice taste in comics. Some of the good Marvel stuff, like the Black Panther jungle action comics by Don McGregor and the Paul Galassi Master of Kung Fu's and all that kind of stuff. So once I saw that kind of level of storytelling and the way you do cinematic kind of stuff, that really bit me hard. And so I was still in school then, and I was always into the art side of things. So I was going to be a comic book storyteller, not knowing then that in Australia at the time, which was in the 70s, mid to late 70s, there wasn't a lot going on. So in trying to get my stuff published and having a bit of a look around and realizing that there really wasn't a publishing industry as such in the country, I started to try and my mum, God bless her, being the ever smart one, said, well, if you want to get into comics, you'll need a backup job. So get into graphic design. So she shouted a graphic design course for me to go on to but all those skills, of course, can be used and wrapped up into comic book storytelling and production. So that was very handy as well. So so in the early days, I developed some stories, of course, as we all do, which aren't really publishable, but they get you going. And that old adage of you do your 10,000 pages and you've got to get them done first to get them out of the system to learn what you're doing and get all your errors out of the way. But the problem was trying to find how to print and distribute. And around the time, there was very little going on. There was Gerald Carr's Vixen was going on in Sydney, or that I bumped into in Sydney. There was the Newton comics being reprinting all the Marvel stuff. There was, and good old Tad doing the Dark Nebula. And so he was, just before he had released his first big book, his big 64-pager, I got in touch with him, and it was really good timing because it was just at the printers, and he didn't have much to show me because all the artwork he'd given to the printers to get the negs shot for production. But we developed a relationship and friendship, and that rolled into working together to a certain extent. And Tad had known Glenn Lumsden, and they were working together on some Dark Nebula stories. And then that rolled into meeting the guys from Fantastique and New Age Graphics that rolled into the production that was Fantastique. And from that hub of creativity, started to meet people like Jason Paulos and Don Ticchio and Bodine and a whole swag of people that were all trying to do the same thing around the same time. It's probably a 12-month to 18-month period where everyone's all very keen about trying to get published. And I had, through my graphic design side of things, started to make contacts with printers and people that can actually get stuff on paper as far as production was concerned. So I met with a guy who said, we'll put a comic together for you, and we'll do a bit of a promo comic first with some blank pages in it so I can get some reps to go around and sell some advertising, and it'll be a big hit. We'll get the Swans involved. We'll do this, we'll do that. It was all fantastic. So some of these issues were printed up. That was the first Adventure Illustrated comic. That was back in 1985. And a handful of comics came off the printing press, and the weekend or the Friday that they were printed, and so I spread them around, a couple of issues here and there. But the rest of them, there were huge storms in Sydney, and the roof leaked badly in the printer's warehouse, and all the pallets were got totally drenched and ruined, and they got disposed of, except for maybe 3 or 4 comics that were handed out to me a couple of days earlier to show to the gang. So there's only about 3 or so, 3, 4, 5 at the most of these Adventure Illustrateds floating around. One in the National Library, and Tad's got one, I think. I know where 1 or 2 other issues are at the moment. My one's with Danny Best. And so that was a bit of a false start, but that got us to the point where we knew what we were doing. We knew how to put a magazine together. We knew what it looked like in A4, and it was a tangible thing in the hands. By that stage, Cyclone kind of peeled off into its own thing, and the guys at Fantastique peeled off into their own thing there. We met Dave DeVries and his Squadron cast of characters, the Southern Squadron, and things started to coalesce into what would become the Cyclone gang and the Fantastique New Age graphics gang. And of course, along the way, there was other smaller groups, individual people that did their own things. I think around the same time that Cyclone was floating around, there was a comic called Forerunners being done. There was, of course, Reverie happening down in Melbourne. There was a lot of stuff and interest going on down in Melbourne at the time. Fox was going on down there. Fox Comics, Ink Spots was going on down there. Phil Barlow, one of the artists down in Melbourne, he was making waves down there and having a huge impact with his amazing style. He was just a young guy down there. A very young Jason Paulos was starting to get his act together up in Brisbane as well before he came down to Sydney. So there was a lot of a snowballing effect happening in at least in Sydney, and there seemed to be the same thing happening to a certain extent in Melbourne as well.
Mm. What was some of your...
Sorry, what was that?
And then what happened?
Then what happened? I developed a drinking habit and got into comics publishing seriously.
Gary, I missed all that. Can you start again, please, mate?
We've also got to welcome latecomer Shannon Browning, who last week I called Chris Browning and forgot the name of his book. RoboTunes' Shannon Browning is here.
Mate, I'm Speedsy, thanks.
Hi, Shannon.
Hi, guys. Hi, Gary.
Yeah, clap. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, mate.
But like the reflection off my head would just blind everybody. So
yeah, no one pulled me up on the fact I called you Chris last week. I
didn't actually realize you were calling me Chris. I think it was only after the show had wrapped that I realized that what you were calling me.
Yeah. I was like, I sometimes just watch it back to see how the intro sounded and whatever, and I was like, I called him Chris. What an idiot!
Oh, don't worry. I've been living here for 2 years, and my neighbor calls me Michael.
Okay.
I just never bothered to correct him.
So who knows? Gary, what were some of the early reactions you remember to Flash Damingo coming out, being a little platypus anthropomorphic character?
There was a lot of bemusement, I suppose. I have to admit that he probably didn't have a huge impact at the time, but he held a soft spot in my heart as far as a character, and I thought he had lots of potential. So he started to appear more and more in the stories that I was doing, and crossed over as well into other characters' story arcs. So he appeared for a while for a couple of issues in the Southern Squadron, and they had their fun with him as well. He has a lot of potential, and I'm still working on stories now that have him in it and telling his story after so long. He's become a fully formed character in my mind. So there's stories that I definitely need to tell that I think it's a long game. So that's the interesting thing about having him being around for so long, is that you get to play a long game with the character, and you find out things that you've planted many years ago, even unintentionally, in the stories that you did earlier, that actually play into a larger picture that in Australia few people get a chance to do after 25, 30 years or so of developing a character. You can have some fun with that longevity.
Mm.
And what made you... Sorry, Speedsy.
No, please go, Dave.
What made you decide to give him like an Italian accent in that, mate?
Well, is it an Italian accent, really?
Well, what is it?
All I was trying to do, the immature me was saying, what would an alien accent? If he's been in space for a chunk of time, he's not necessarily going to have an Australian accent. So anything different needs to be translated into a word balloon and into a speech pattern. So I just tried to make him sound not Australian, or at least have a speech pattern that wasn't that was discernibly different from the other characters. So you could do things like have the word balloons appear on a panel and not the characters, and you'll know automatically who's talking because there's a different way of delivering the script and dialogue. So that's totally fine that people think it's an Italian accent. That probably was the initial thought, and there was no rationale behind it beyond the practical sense of making him wanting to sound different on the page.
Yeah, I got that. Yep, I'm with you on that
So I
one.
also have a question for my drawing progress. Would he be COVID safe or would he be not? Would it be protesting?
He'd find it very hard to find a mask that fits him.
So if he finds a mask, if there is a mask that fits him, would he be like, all right, cool, I'll wear it. I'd just rather be safe than sorry, and I don't want to share my disease with other people, my potential disease with other people?
Yes, I think he would.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So I don't have to erase anything because I already started inking the mask. All right.
Yeah, excellent. No. All good.
Sorry, spoiler alert, if anybody was.
What
Cool.
were the
Spencer, carry
rules,
on.
Gary, if any? One thing I'm chuffed about those old books is that Southern Squadron will rock up, Dark Nebula will rock up, your characters will be in Southern Squadron's books. You obviously all were welcome to play with each other's characters. Were there discussions about, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that, or like how did all that work?
Yeah, it was. There were discussions had.
Awesome, Dave.
Oh, that's great.
Good stuff, Dave.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah. There were discussions had, and all the guys we got together a lot. So it was very much, while people at the drawing boards, very similar to what's going on now. Nice. Oh,
Good one, mate.
very,
Good work,
Good
Pete.
stuff, Pete.
Proud.
he is hard. He's deceivingly hard to do, particularly the beak and particularly his gun. But back in the day, we were very close knit, and so it was just a conversation, a way of, hey, I'd like, throwing ideas backwards and forwards, and so there was, there was no real police. There was just a politeness of being able to talk to the character's creator and say, is this cool? I'd love to do this. Yeah, and it'd be like, wouldn't it be great if? And they'd either agree or disagree, or they'd, mainly it was for laughs. So whatever really works and would be a bit of fun was given the green light.
Yeah, awesome.
So it was deceivingly cool and not much constraint at all, really. Which is why I don't know whether it was a good or bad thing, whether the stories got so convoluted with the characters that maybe we were saying, yeah, that sounds like a great idea, too much, because that's always a distraction. And meanwhile, the characters don't actually get to tell their stories or their character arcs, because all of a sudden there's a cameo by someone, or there's a little side story where you got to tell something before you can get to another story. So I found with my stuff that I was very easily distracted with the characters, and would love to deal with the squadron because they're great characters, and would love to deal with any other guys' characters, be able to draw them and feature them in stories, or for me to do some artwork or some writing for someone else. It was very easy to go into another person's world because they were fun characters. That's why we published them, and that's why we thought the Cyclone group worked so well, because they all played off each other so well. And that's where the universe came from. It was just a sense of this camaraderie, not just with the creators, but with the characters as well. They operated dynamically with each other very well.
And what was it like revisiting the characters for the new relaunch of Adventure Illustrated?
It was great fun. Yeah, really. Again, it's just basically continuing the stories that I want to get told about the character, but being able to relaunch it again. I just thought it was totally appropriate to use the the Adventure Illustrated title again. Seems how it was just sitting there dormant, a bit water soaked after 35 years or whatever, but it was sitting there, and I thought, oh well, a new start, a revamp. Let's use that title and tell some new stories again. And of course, it's great having Tim McEwen and Michael Michelandos do the Greener Pastures new stories as well for that. So I think the combo in Adventure Illustrated is superb, and I'm very happy. I'm working away on the second issue now, so hopefully that'll be out in a month or two. And Tim's stuff for Greener Pastures is the artwork is amazing. He just sent through a little while ago his cover for the second issue, his variant cover. And yeah, beautiful stuff. Very, very nice. He's really going very, 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 very well indeed. So I'm very proud of that between the covers as well.
Speaking of Tim, you guys were huge parts of the Ledger Awards. What was your role in the sort of creation of the Ledger Awards at the beginnings of?
Yeah, I think it was essentially just my idea that back in the day, I thought that when they first started, that the country, Australia, its industry or community was getting to a point of growth where we could sustain a national comic book award. There was a lot of international creators that were getting a lot of attention as well, still do. We're growing all the time. And I thought an awards program would focus a lot of attention on the comics that were done in a given year. I've always thought it was less about the final awards that were given out. As the years progressed with the Ledgers, I got more of a buzz out of developing the long list and seeing how much stuff was produced and how much stuff could be uncovered and found that wouldn't normally get any kind of recognition or opportunity to be seen by other people. So I love that.
Awesome.
And I loved the stage of developing the shortlist, where those last awards that I did, I think the 2019 awards were probably best encapsulated what I thought was a great final round. It was a really long, intense and extensive shortlist of about 20 creators, 20 projects that I thought, yeah, this is what it should be every single year, because there isn't really just 4 or 5 or half a dozen gold standard projects across the board in Australia anymore. We're just getting so good right across the board that we could easily give gold awards to, a dozen, 18 easy projects a year that are of international gold standard. So I thought that having a short list was fantastic. That gave an indication and allowed these projects that were deemed by the judging panel to be the top of the year a chance to really have light shed on them and a promotional opportunity, and also to showcase that Australian comics overseas, on an international stage, hold their own as well. And so it's I think the awards and the success that they've had, and Bruce Mutard is taking them on to the next level. More power to him. I think has borne fruit that the Ledgers have now taken a foothold in the scene. And personally, I think the best thing that's happened out of them is the awareness of the awards, the awareness of Australian comics in general, the long list and the ability to review all the comics, from web comics to mini comics to international graphic novels, and that short list of not just the recipients of the awards, but that step back from that, the short list of what the judging panel have deemed to be gold level or excellent comics. The judging panel is structured where any judge who puts in a vote in their second round for gold level will be acknowledged. So that second round shortlist, there's a judge on the panel that thought that was good enough to get gold, and I think that's a great thing to be able to scream from the rooftops, because the selections for the judges are very important as well. These people know what they're talking about. They're selected before their knowledge and their understanding of what a good comic is, and the projects themselves are not judged against each other. So a mini comic's not judged against a 64-page graphic novel. A mini comic who set out to do this is judged how successful that was. A 64-page graphic novel is judged for how successful that was. An autobio comic or a web comic is judged for what it was trying to do and set out to do. So the judging panel was asked to judge each project on its merits, not against any other project. So, I personally thought that system was quite a good way to go, because the big advantage of Australian comics and the scene, the way it's developed to the way it is today, is our wide variety of subject matter and formats And you get superhero comics, you get art comics, you get political satire, you get personal diary comics, you get all kinds of stuff, and it's impossible to judge one against the other. So they have to be judged on their merits.
I got a little quick question. Perth, is there a reason it's hosted in Perth?
Well, when Bruce took over, he's also the organizer of the Perth ComX Arts Festival. So when we were talking about transitioning from Tim and me looking after the awards to Bruce, he said, well, next year I'm going ahead with the Perth Comic Arts Festival. We can have the awards the same weekend. It was like good timing, blah, blah, blah. So
that was actually really fun. That was a fun expo last weekend. It was actually really enjoyable, and everyone was really into like seeing new content, and they just weren't looking for like generic, I don't know, like mainstream stuff, and people were like really open-minded, just happy to have a chat and actually see what
Are you based over there?
Yeah.
Right, and you went?
Yeah, I was exhibiting there as well. Yeah.
Oh, great. What was the turnout like? Because I haven't had a chance to talk to Bruce yet about the weekend.
Insane. So. Absolutely insane. Like some parts would chock-a-block. Like you would just, like in Supernova or Comic-Con or whatever, and it'd just be like people were having trouble weaving in and out of each other. Like there was plenty of moments like that. So it was good. And because it got delayed as well, because of our little lockdown that we had, I was very surprised and very humbled by the amount of people that came along and were just very keen to get involved.
Yeah, right.
It was really nice.
Okay.
Really nice.
Lauren, then, so give us what kind of good titles were out there? What was interesting that was actually being sold? There was Bruce's stuff, his own big box of thesis material. I noticed he was showing pictures of that, and that looked pretty mighty. What else was there that was interesting?
Gestot was there, so I finally got to meet Justin, which was really nice. And then, I didn't really have much time to move away from my table because I was by myself. But like Campbell White, so I do a lot of stuff for Cheeky Monkey Brewing, and I do a lot of their can labels and black brewing and like a lot of the breweries here, and Campbell does a lot of stuff for Nowhere Man Brewing, so it was quite nice to see like we're still
there's a theme going on there.
Like they love it. They love like the illustration side of things. They want like beer, like craft beer in general, like collecting cans.
You get paid in money or in alcohol?
A bit of both, actually. Depends what deadline they give me, and they pay me in alcohol and money. It was nice. Like there was a lot of like Curtain Illustration Club there, someone to keep an eye out on. There was some fresh faces that I saw. It's just there was a lot of content, and it was just. Who
was the Riso press that was there that did a anthology? Did you see them? Is it they were one of the sponsors of the Ledgers, and I can't remember their names.
It wasn't Campbell. It was Nathan. I'll get his name for you, but he was part of the collaboration. Outstanding. Like the book was phenomenal.
Right.
Like very, very striking cover. Like, and you know how like covers just need to sell something, right? Yeah, it was just they did a fantastic job with what they had to deal with. So
Neighborhood Press.
Yeah,
that's the name of the business. Yeah. So there's a lot of great Riso printers happening in this country at the moment as well. It's a nice little mini niche. Glom Press, who won the Platinum Award, were known for doing their graphic novels in Riso format. So it's a nice little subculture and way of doing things.
Nice. I've got one for you, Rob. We just had this sent in saying catch up. That's from Isaac.
You put that in?
Dad, can I swear for a sec? Yeah, what up, bitch? Hi, Zach.
He said that a while ago, so he's probably up to inking by now.
Yeah, he's probably,
G'day, Zach.
Guess what? There goes my work in progress. How much can you say?
Right. Nice. Very nice. I'm a no duck. Hey, inking. Yes, very nice.
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's interesting drawing Flash now. He's always been hard to draw, but when I'm sitting down actually inking him, the tricks that I used to use in inking his dark fur and getting his eyebrows and stuff right, that I did 20 years ago. I'm trying to find ways of reinterpreting it now so that it just looks fresh and interesting and a bit more of a progression from what I used to do back in the day. And that's always interesting. He's a challenging character. There was one I did a promotional.
It works.
Sorry?
Don't fix what not's broken. Like if it's still working, your traditional's like
yeah, but it's the old art thing of no, don't like the way that looks. It's less about it working and more about the artist going, I can do better. Let's try and see whether I can approach that problem from a different way. Using what you've learned over the years and seeing whether you can solve the problems a different way.
Any tips, Gary, on how to ink him? Is that all a big secret?
I'm still working it out myself, but
you can steal ideas from us then.
Definitely, yes. But things like you could easily do his fur with a dry brush, or a charcoal effect instead of the harsh, black and white ink line. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, is that Peter? Yeah, good on Peter.
His beak is notoriously difficult to do from certain angles. I try and I have been known to avoid drawing him from like underneath it because you got to work out the mechanics of his bottom jaw for it to look correct. So,
to help with everybody, just put a mask on him. That's what I did.
COVID will finish one day, mate, and then it'll be back to normal. Oh, it won't finish, but we'll learn to live with it.
Yeah, I may not have sketched mine a few times before we went live on air because I knew I had trouble.
Rob, totally.
If only Alex had been around when Gary first started drawing him, would have been so much easier. Just put a mask on him.
Where was I? Where was I in the 80s? Could have been. I was in Europe, so that's my excuse. I was in my pre-teens in Europe. But Gary, I got a question. If there's a story to it. I think it was the cover of AusCon, because it was the first time I saw Flash was, I think, at AusCon 7 on the cover where he just flies in. Is there a story behind that, or did they just grab artwork? Just grab artwork and snap it on there.
I think, was that done by me or was that done by another artist? AusCon 7.
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you who.
I think that might have been someone else drawing Flash, and interpreting what he can and can't do. But the AusCon thing was an interesting connection. I was about to mention that actually. That Christine asked me back in the day to see if Flash could be used as the little mascot for the AusCon conventions. And so I did a series of, over the years, he actually developed from visually from what he was with AusCon 1 to how he looks with AusCon 7. It was quite a transition. All the little corner icons there. And she asked me initially, or a couple, I think the second year in, to do some spot illustrations for Flash in different superhero clobber. So I had fun drawing him. Yeah. What else you got there?
There you go. That's the one, right? Pete's got all the props.
I was going through boxes of stuff a few days ago and discovered these.
That's the one. Yeah.
By the way, I haven't met Pete before, so
when I discovered we were drawing Flash, I thought, oh great, I'll dig these out. I've got extra reference.
Nice. I got a whole comic here to use as reference, so I'm laughing.
You're set, yes. So it was fun. Speaking of masks, for AusCon, I got to do Flash Damingo in a Spider-Man uniform, Flash Damingo in a Spawn uniform, different versions of him in a superhero suit. And it was quite liberating to actually have his face covered with a mask. It talked a lot. But maybe in the future, if ever I come up with a silly looking character like that, I'll, as Alex suggested, put him in a mask. Save a lot of drawing time.
Well, there's a reason why the Devil's Toilet is just a square with eyes.
Why, Rob?
And then what happened?
Well, I got this pic that Gary shared with me earlier. I'll just whack that up. There's AusCom
yeah.
5.
That's
wicked.
by Dave Sim, the
Cool.
father of Cerebus the Aardvark.
Nice.
He actually
He
did a
drew that
small
for you.
illustration to promote the ad that happened on the back of Cerebus and a few other promotional magazines leading up to AusCon. So that's how he actually draws Flash Damingo, which was very educational as to how far you can go stylistically with bending the character and still making
Especially
him.
with his beak.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
yeah, that was pretty amazing, and just being able to study his original art was, such an honor because he's as a technician, he's pretty amazing as an artist.
Yeah, what was it like having the inspiration of the character actually draw the character? That must have been pretty cool.
It was pretty amazing, and he came out as a guest of AusCon as well, so I was able to sit down and have a bit of a chat with him. And yeah, interesting character. Politics and attitudes towards women notwithstanding, he's an amazing cartoonist. And
Yay!
yeah, I wouldn't Google Dave Sim and politics as a deep, deep, dark web hole corner with Dave Sim label
It's like
on it.
Doug,
Nice to know.
Doug Tenaple, like the Earthworm Jim guy, Doug Tenaple. Like, I was so sad when I found out how much of a butthole he was.
Much of a butthole.
Oh, imagine how Ren and Stimpy fans are feeling right now.
I know.
Yeah. Crick Falusi is a bit of a creep as well. Yes.
Yeah, he likes them young and groomed, which is not a good thing. Not a good thing.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yes,
Yeah.
anyway.
Things are going dark again.
Speaking of Gary, you should tell everybody the story of Will Eisner because you worked with him, right?
Yeah, hell yeah. Good thinking.
We've got to bring that up.
Where does one start? There's two
In the middle.
points of contact. The first point of contact was the 1986 Sydney Opera House convention that was put together by Richard Ray, and Will Eisner and Jim Steranko and a few Aussie guys like John Dixon were guests of honor. Stan Lee was supposed to come out, but he never made it. But this convention went ahead. It was one of the first big time glossy kind of conventions that was held. And luckily, Cyclone was able to launch our first two issues. And so Will came out, and the convention was very haphazardly put together so that we were able to spend a lot of time with Will purely because of the chaos involved in the convention, where the poor old organisers would get onto the loudspeaker and go, in 20 minutes, Will Eisner will be holding a Q&A down in the Buttercup room. And Will Eisner would go, where the hell's the Buttercup room? So we'd say, we know where the Buttercup room is. Come on, we'll take. So we'd have a panel with Will Eisner and talk about. So we got to meet Will and spend a fair bit of time with him, and went on a harbour cruise with the guests of honour and all that kind of stuff. So that was a nice little bonding moment. But that was 1986. He's gone back and lived his life. 20 years later, he's done all these graphic novels and blah, 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 blah. That's the first point. Second point was I never actually talked to him about meeting him back in 1986. But fast forward in my career to a point where I'm talking to Kitchen Sink Press. They're doing a series called The Spirit, The New Adventures. And I've been asked to do an Australian-based spirit story. And so I did this thing called Black Opal, and it was going to go into issue number 9 of the regular series. But then Kitchen Sink got shut down and bought out by, I think, the Ninja Turtle guys. But anyway, they closed down.
Kevin Eastman?
The Spirit of New Adventures popped after issue number 8. So I had this fully formed comic there that never got published. And so I was talking to the publishers over there. And, of course, Dennis Kitchen runs Kitchen Sink Press. And I started having a conversation with him and developed a relationship with Dennis, who's an amazing guy. And I said, hey, wouldn't it be great if I could do something with one of Will's old characters? If I can't do the Spirit and I've got a story sitting here, maybe I can turn it into one of the other characters. And I had in mind John Law. So I said, maybe I can turn it into a John Law story and we can put it on the web. And Dennis went, well, I'll talk to Will about it and see what he says. Because Dennis was Will's agent, art agent, and professional agent as well, while Will was still alive. And so Dennis got in touch with Will. I didn't get in touch with Will. Dennis did, and Dennis came back and said, hey, Will's all for it. He's really into this new thing called webcomics. Well, this is back in the early 2000s. And he's more than happy to have a chat to you about developing John Law as a webcomic. So this is back in the days, really, where we were still using fax machines. So we swapped numbers and we started faxing backwards and forwards. And eventually it was decided that I could do a John Law webcomic, host it on an American comic book site called Modern Tales, and see how we go. And he was very interested as to how webcomics as a publishing platform was actually going to develop. Because if one thing Will Eisner wasn't, was a stupid man about opportunities for publishing and making money. Not that you can make money on the web, but anyway. So that all happened, and from that, we developed a new series of John Law stories that Will would cast his eye over and tick, 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 and edit and give the okay for. And so that's how the John Law series came about. And it was through that I was also lucky enough to be asked by him, because of the webcomic angle, to develop the tutorial or the structure on webcomics for his textbooks. He did a series of 3 books, comics and sequential art, graphic storytelling, and dynamic anatomy. And he asked me to do the chapters in the revisions. Though he did these things he did the first 1 or 2 of them back in the 80s or 90s, and they were being reissued with a bigger publisher. So he wanted to expand the books. Yeah, that's the additions there. Yeah, exactly right.
My turn to have something out of the magic portal.
Yeah. So those actual additions with the expanded content, I produced the webcomics content for the first book, and the second book contained some of the John Law artwork that I did, and a chapter on webcomics, because he was obviously aware that there was webcomics and that kind of online formatting wasn't going anywhere. Sure, it was before Instagram and all that kind of stuff, but the basics of HTML and scrolling and infinite comics and the way to view comics online versus in print was what he wanted to cover. So, I was pretty chuffed in being asked to do that and being part of those textbooks. So, that was a nice little bonus in the old career.
Well done, mate. Good on you.
That's awesome.
What about Dark Horse Down Under? How did that thing come about? Because that's something I only discovered recently.
Yeah, well, again, that was through the AusCon conventions when they invited Christine and George invited Mike Richardson out, and Randy Stradley, one of the editors there, came out as well. I don't know whether they were at the same year or different years. I don't have a memory for these things. But anyway, Mike Richardson was coming out, and it was just an opportunity, really, where George and Christine are running around going, got to pick up guests from the airport, got to do this, got to do that. And they said, Gary, can you get Mike from the airport? He's going to be arriving in about 45 minutes and da-da-da-da-da. So went out to the airport and got Mike, and of course, he was interested in what was going on locally. And contact was made, conversations were had, picked up later on. He had his couple of days here with the Australian scene and understood that, hey, there's actually a burgeoning scene here. There's lots of interesting stuff going on. So in a very shorthand way, because he was only here for 2 or 3 days, he said to me, why don't you put together a package of stuff? It was going to be an anthology. It was going to be 6 issues long. Gary, you curate the thing and we'll publish it for the American market. And so that's how that happened. And then blah, 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 blah. 3 issues. It was cut back from 6 to 3 because it didn't sell that well, because anthologies never do. And it was a black and white comic, and it was going through a bit of a downturn in the US market. So it was a situation where I had 6 issues of creators all lined up, and then I had to go, have to finish all this series off in 3 issues. So there was a lot of culling to be had. But the opportunity was there because Mike Richardson came down to Australia and he saw the potential for a new market there. which, may not have been as successful in the short term, but I think his vision was right in that the Australian market now could probably sustain an international level title, which a lot of publishers in Australia are trying to do. There's Gene.
ComX present.
I think it was 1993. Thanks, Gene. Yeah. Hi. I've known Gene for many years. I think he was correct me if I'm wrong, Gene, a work experience lad who came to my studios back in the day before he was released out into the wild to be creative on his own.
Nice.
All right. Still keeping tabs on you too. That's good.
Yeah, that happens a lot, actually. Yeah. Emails out of the blue. Oh, are you still drawing comics? Drawing over here in Singapore. Yes, you are.
Wow.
Hey, we're international tonight, are we?
Work experience kid, 1988.
There you go.
Yeah. So, God, how depressing going down memory lane. What other things have you got lined up?
Well, my next question was what's next for Flash Damingo, but I guess what's next for all your Adventure Illustrated and all that? Is it going until it stops, or what's the go?
Yeah. I've got lots of stuff planned. I'm really changing my tack from, I want to finish off telling Flash Damingo's story. His character arc, which is, as I said, is a marathon that spanned 30 odd years. I want to finish that off, and I've already put in place things that really are surprising, I would like to think, from a writer's point of view about the character and what people's expectations might be for a character like Flash. But yeah, he's going to get his story wound up and finished with a little bow, and the fallout from that will allow me to tell more stories with Cyclone Force and more stories with Zackaroo, with Jack Keegan, and that'll be what propels me forward.
Awesome. When did you
always
So what was that?
Yeah, Dave's, this is great, guys. Quite a few stories I was only very sketchy on. Dave's always very sketchy.
What was that relationship like in the beginning, meeting each other and that burgeoning creative relationship?
What, with Dave?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was great. Yeah. I mean, I ended up being Dave's best man in his wedding. And they're
wow.
married, so that must count for something.
Yeah.
We can be honest. You get to us what you really think. It's all just us.
Dave is the Squadron is an amazing set of characters, and of course, I think most of us know it's not a surprise that the Squadron's coming back in a revised and rebooted format. There are some people here working with Dave on that front, so I'm looking forward to what the results will be there. I'm sort of resisting becoming involved because I'm trying to start. I don't want that old thing of going into side paths of stories and crossovers with other characters when I am trying to get my own stories done. So I'm trying to be an adult about it, a big boy, and just stick to what I've got in my head to do and not get distracted. So as much as it's exciting seeing what Dave's doing with the Squadron and the crossovers, and the work that I've done in the past with Tad as well, and crossing over with his characters, I'm just at a point now where I'm almost 60, and I've got shit that I want to do, and I just can't get distracted. I'm trying. Glenn Lumsden's here in Tassie now, and he and I talk about this a lot, about staying focused and not getting distracted. And there's stuff you want to do, and you get and in comics it's so easy to be enthused about other people's work, but you've got to let them carry their own weight. You be enthusiastic about your stuff and just get it done. Don't get distracted. As much fun as it is, just powering ahead on. You're going to be dead, and you're going to turn around and go, "I never did finish that story," and that would suck. So, I'm just trying to stay very, very focused at the moment, and so is Glenn. I mean, he's doing some beautiful, beautiful stuff with the Phantom, and some of his solo stories that he's developing now for Fru and for himself as well. He's doing the best stuff of his career because he's trying very hard to stay focused, and that's what I'm trying to do as well. Tad, he's doing the same thing with Dark Nebula. He's doing some crossover opportunities as well, but he's also staying focused on the main title that he's trying to get produced and released as well. And same, I'm sure, with Dave and the Squadron, in that there is a grand plan, but it just doesn't involve me because I'm trying to stay. I want to do Flash Damingo. I want to tell that story, and I want to tell more stories with the Jackaroo. So that's what I'm trying to stay on task for.
I liked that the Squadron was still referenced in the latest output, because they're still in that world. They just weren't in that story, so to speak.
Yeah, it had to happen. It had to be an acknowledgement, and same with the cameo appearance in that first story with Dark Nebula. It's very handy to have that casual, tight relationship with these creators where you can drop them a line and go, oh, it's only a sentence, or it's only a cameo scene, and they can okay it or not. It's really, but it's nice to have that world building still there, even if it is just a comment. And that's good enough for me. That's not going off and doing a side project. that's a whole different kettle of fish than just a mention, so that people know, it's still the Cyclone world, but onwards.
Cool.
Yeah,
well,
I'm guilty of
from the. Sorry.
Yep. No, you go.
No, I was just going to say we've got someone from home sent in their version.
Nice.
Robbie Donaldson.
That's Robbie Donaldson. I can recognise his artwork anywhere.
Very nice. Very nice, sexy boots, thigh-high boots.
Okay, nice.
Can't you see
I thought there were eyelashes on there, but I don't know, just like a little bit of the eyebrows.
Wow.
That crest on the Flash Damingo uniform there is actually a little bit of trivia, is the Chaloner family crest.
That's pretty cool.
Nice.
That's really cool.
So it's got the face of three Valkyries on it and an inverted V's, and it's a silver V on a black field. And I just thought that's a pretty cool as a military style insignia for someone that might be out of space ranger. So anyway, back in the day, I put that on his uniform and it's kind of stuck. So
now I feel bad. I couldn't zoom in all the way, so it wasn't.
I do that a lot as well.
I was like, I can't tell. I think they're triangles.
3 triangles that are V. Yeah, it's like an AFL uniform.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I thought it was.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. AFL.
So, Gary, you live in Tasmania now? Or so last time I talked to you, were in Perth, which was like 15 years ago.
Yeah, I'm just reading Dave's comments. Sorry, Alex.
No.
I've spent time. First chunk of my life was in Sydney. I'm a Sydney boy. Then first marriage brought me over to Perth and Western Australia for another chunk of years, where I met Ben Temple-Smith and Ashley Wood and did some interesting stuff with them over the years. That's where the Undertaker character came from. And I spent a good 20 years over in WA, and now I'm here in Tassie. And that's probably where I'll be putting the ground, because it's lovely down here.
Yeah, because like with Ashley Wood stuff, like I remember I actually liked his Cyclone stuff because it was like less Photoshop stuff on it, and I actually thought it looked better than his Spawn stuff because it was a little bit more clearer and a bit more. It's just kind of a shame that Photoshop took over his stuff in my opinion.
That whole episode of my life was pretty bizarre. I don't know whether anyone has heard of a magazine called Alarum. It was a A4. The only one issue came out. An A4 rock magazine with comics inside. It was like the UK's Deadline magazine. And Ashley was he was heavily into, probably still is, into music, goth music and The Cure and things like that. And he wanted to do this magazine. So I came over to Perth and I didn't know anyone in the comic scene over there. It was kind of a new start for me. And he got in touch and said, hey, let's get together for a drink. So I came into town and met him, and he wanted to do this. He knew this pre-press guy who wanted to get into publishing. And it was sort of like the Cyclone thing happening all over again, but in a kind of a different prism. But anyway, so we got involved with this pre-press guy, a South African guy called Sweeten, yes. And I thought that's a pretty dodgy first name, Sweeten. But anyway, so he was sweet talking us into doing this creative stuff that turned into Alarum and turned into Morton Stone Undertaker and Dr. Moth and Loretta Latex and all these cutting edge Ashley Woody kind of characters. And of course, Ashley was his star was not even risen yet. He was still getting there. He was applying to 2000 AD. He was loving Judge Dredd and doing a lot of fan art for Judge Dredd for himself. And then he and I were doing this thing. We would paste up this magazine. We weren't allowed in the pre-production house. We were given the storage shed out the back that had no air conditioning and like leaky roof, and we were both like huddled next to each other drawing these comics. And while inside in the warm were the guys putting this comic together, and we were outside, drawing like slaves. So anyway, we had a bit of a showdown with the guy after the first issue to say, hey, listen, this is not acceptable. We've got the second issue all ready to go. I had some Flash Damingo stuff in there. There was Morton Stone in there, and there was a lot of little strips that Ashley was doing for himself as well. And this guy was just a bit of a con man. So he went, oh, well, we'll just walk that ground to a halt. But it was the impetus for me to reboot Cyclone and do the Cyclone Comics quarterly 4 issues that had the same beginnings, the content that was in Alarum flowed into the Cyclone Comics quarterly 4 issues. And that's where Morton Stone originated. And from there, that flowed into Dark Horse Down Under. And from Dark Horse Down Under, that flowed into me getting, other American work as well. Earlier than that, of course, the Squadron and the Jackaroo had been published overseas. But I developed relationships with Kurt Busiek, who did Astro City, and Mike Barron, who did The Badger, and, other stuff flowed from there. So, as everyone knows, it's not what you know, it's who you know to a certain extent.
Yeah, sure.
And I know Gary.
Peters now.
Sorry?
All of you. Oh, it's looking great.
Yeah,
Lauren, do you want to try to share yours again?
Yeah, I'll send you it just so you can share it. It'll be easier.
Just
that
look
yours,
just into
Pete?
your camera.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was Pete's.
That was wicked.
Pete.
No,
There
that's
it
all
is.
right, mate.
kind of buggered up the hands no end, but come on.
No, it looks really good, mate. It's bloody real good.
Is anyone having a good go at his gun? I know.
Yeah.
I'm drawing
Yeah.
his gun, but I drew a gun, but it's not a good
I don't
go
know
at
if
it.
it's a
Like,
good go, but
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of cheated and drew it exactly as I've seen it in.
his gun. Like,
It's
I'm not really
not
a gun.
enough. I'm not
guy,
ready
Yeah,
for
but,
right.
mechanicals.
Looks like
Yeah,
a
it's
hair
got-
dryer in there.
but
Oh,
Shane,
yeah.
it's just email to
So,
mine.
don't show my face. It's not that good. But here you go.
Yeah,
There you go,
that's
it's a
fine.
gun. I'm a bit, but I put like a little bit of effort to his. Because
And here's Lauren.
goes Norton Pumper. It actually fires air, but compressed format that actually can either just pump
Nice.
back or actually kill as well. That is lovely. Very nice.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, that is
Ah.
great. It's looking really good.
Who's that, Lauren, is it?
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah,
Beauty,
nice.
Lauren.
Nice trick putting the gun behind the head as well. Very clever.
Yeah, hide whatever you can.
The Mike Mignola way.
can we just check in with the people we don't see much? Kieran, what's going on in Halftown Productions land?
Halftown Productions.
Did I say Halftown? Halftone.
Halftone.
Well, it's been a pretty crazy couple of months here with a couple of releases in the works. So we've got Super RBA, which is getting finished at the moment, which
Yep.
is Brad's title. And then we've got The Apparition, which luckily today I had the proofs arrive from Baden, thankfully. So they are there, which is exciting.
Baden is
Oh,
amazing.
Yep, so I got the all the different versions. So we've got the standard edition, which is mine. Then we've got the foil variant by Ash Maddy.
Foil.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Wow.
So
Fancy.
pretty cool. And then we've got Graham Jackson's variant cover.
Nice.
Good mate over in America, Holly Noel. He's done a cover
Yeah.
for it. And then we've
Mhm.
got Camilo's cover for Drop Bear Comics,
Yeah.
which is a limited
Ripper.
release. And
And
we've got the sketch cover.
Oh, it's
I'm doing a Glad Wrap cover for Adventure Illustrated. Glad Wrap.
A Glad Wrap cover. Look, I'm always
'Cause your
trying
books
to
are
jump on
fresh.
the next thing, so if it works, let me know.
Baden can print anything.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a chaotic couple of weeks getting it all organised with the state that Sydney's in, but luckily we're getting there. And then I'm putting it together an art book, probably from the last 5 years of stuff, just collecting and drawing and having a bit of fun. So I thought, screw it, I'm going to do an art book. I've got some.
Is that going to have a
classes coming.
spine? A book with a spine?
Yes, it will have a book with a spine. Yes.
How many pages do you think?
It's going to be, at this stage, it's probably about 52, I think. Yeah, 52.
Nice.
So it's going to have. I'm doing a few classes where I'm living with children. So which is really cool. So I thought, well, I'll put an art book together, and hopefully that can help them out. I wish I had something like that as a child, which would have helped me. So I thought, why not do that? And I've got a stack of art that's just sitting around in the studio. So put it together and hopefully get it out to the public, which is always good fun.
That's sick.
Yeah, awesome.
But yeah, and I'm back onto work for the next part of the apparition. So having fun with that.
Nice.
Got to keep you busy.
We've got
What about
Shane
you,
now.
Sorry. Ooh, was that Chris Browning?
Yeah. Copy, Spency.
Very nice.
That's yours,
They were
Shannon.
very brave
Nice.
drawing the beak. I'm the only one who
I used
chickened out.
I used to have I've got a few duck characters of my own, so I got a little bit of a technique up for drawing the beak over time.
A duck? What's this duck business?
Platypus.
Oh,
Like I said, the first thing that popped in my mind when I thought, all right, I've got to draw a platypus, is a Robin Williams comedy sketch where he's said, if God gets drunk, he can get stoned as well. Just look at a platypus.
Yeah.
So, let's take a beaver, put on a duck's bill. It's a marsupial, but it lays eggs.
Yeah, and an Italian accent. Yep.
Oh,
I
Dave.
think it's,
Oh, Dave, hang on just a sec, Dave.
Nice. Beautiful. That's the way I do the head as well.
I think that gun is modelled off a hairdryer, is it?
Yeah, he's got to dry his fur somehow. Oh, no, the platypus is waterproof, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I actually remember that back in the day I had Flash not being able to swim, which I thought was quite interesting.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All those
Hey, Gary, I got a
There was
question.
one with the window there.
Yeah.
I got a question because, when they did the 2000 Olympics, I know there were some comic guys that worked on it with Matt and Joseph. But there's a platypus. Sorry?
Matt Hatton?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was him. Yeah. I think he did. I think he did like issue 1 stuff as well before.
Yeah, that's right.
Were you at all involved in any way, or were you pissed off that they did a platypus without your consent or anything like that? Any stories there?
No stories. I suppose there was a little bit of professional jealousy, I suppose, but opportunity. But the Olympics is the Olympics. I mean, boy, oh boy, that's a whole different kettle of fish. There's no way that you'd think that character like Flash Damingo, who's like a bit of a cretin and an Italian accent and dressed the way he dresses would be appropriate for the Olympics anyway. So no, there was really. Yeah,
But I think that even if you'd if you would have removed,
sorry,
yeah, I think if you would have removed the gun and make his hand less mechanical, I reckon just the whole character just would have looked better than I love Matt and Joseph, but I think
take his clothes
he would
off.
have looked cuter. Yeah, his clothes off, yeah, can make it sexy.
Yeah. Anyway,
Cool. I've got a few pictures in here now. I've got bombarded by them.
What, viewers?
Oh, this hasn't got a name next to it.
I've just seen
wow.
mine too.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
It's mine.
That's definitely a duck.
Kieran. Yeah,
I've got to catch up with who that is.
That's Kieran's.
Kieran's. Okay, sorry, Kieran. I just got
Yeah.
bombarded with so many at once. We've got one from the audience as well. This is from
I
Zach.
know who that is. That's Zach Dillon.
That's great. That's fantastic.
There's that.
And then we've got Rob's. Of course, there's a toilet involved.
I had to put toilet in there.
Is Flash Damingo wearing thongs? Excellent.
Oh no! But look where the strap is on his. He's got it on the between the wrong toes.
Come on.
He's got two left feet. I love it.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's okay. It's just like a dodgy shoe from some other place.
Ooh.
We got Pete's.
Nice.
That's
Oh,
cool.
one.
that is- Hey, nice gun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
good.
like I said, I cheated and copied it straight from the pictures. So
Oh, yeah, excellent. Beautiful. Everyone has to finish all of their works and I'll publish it in Adventure Illustrated
Oh, awesome.
for no money.
Well, then we'll fix it up.
You might be disappointed with my drawing, Gary. I'm drawing other stuff in there. You'd be like, oh, I can't publish this. It's not safe for publishing.
I'll only publish with permission.
Well, that means
Oh
I
no,
can
no, no!
tell
I'll
my
give you
mum
permission. I think you'll be like, ooh, that's not safe.
I get to tell my mum
You
what Gary
Ooh.
You send it through there, Alex, or are you still finishing it off?
I'm still finishing it off. I need maybe about 12 minutes, I think.
12 minutes.
wow, that's precise.
Get a bit more
I'll
accurate.
try to give you like
Don't
11
just
minutes and
estimate.
47 seconds or anything.
I'm determined tonight to get an inked one done because I've never actually inked one in time. So
We got 12
Peter
minutes.
Fairfax.
Yep,
Peter Fairfax is your first time with us today, bud.
it is.
Can you maybe, I don't know, give us a little introduction? Tell us what you're working on, what some stuff you've done, all that sort of stuff.
Well, I'm currently working on a book for Reverie Comics it's written by some bloke who does a comic about a toilet of all things.
What?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
This is not a self-serving question at all.
Who would have thought?
bugger.
Yes, working on a comic with Rob, which has been a lot of fun.
You'll never catch on.
Yeah, it's been an absolute dream. Like working with Pete has been so fun. The questions he sends me are just like, do you think they should just things that totally inform how things are going to happen going forward? Because things I didn't think of when he asked me.
Yeah, well, I sort of, get to a page and I'm reading a script and I sort of think, well, now hang on a minute, like, what's this supposed to look like and how's this supposed to work? And if we return to this particular scene or character or object or whatever in an issue's time, like
You're one of those people. Continuity.
yeah, well, yeah, exactly, yeah.
But that's what happens. You think you know your own character, and then you work with someone else, and they raise all these questions, and it's like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's funny how close you can get to your own characters, and then you realise, I don't know my own character very well.
Yeah, well, there's been a few times where I've sent Rob a question, and he's just like, I don't know, like, just make something up. I'm like, oh, yeah, real helpful. Thanks, Rob.
Just have the character flush.
Yeah.
Make him a platypus.
Yeah. But then
I don't know how much I'm supposed to say at this point. I don't know how much.
Whatever you want.
Just don't spoil the ending.
Are we allowed to tell them about certain marsupial characters and
go for
that
it.
sort of stuff?
It's all advertising, mate.
Yeah. So there's
Is Flash Damingo or Killaroo in it?
No, there's no platypus. There's no kangaroo as yet that I'm
No
aware of.
monotremes.
There is.
Is it like
there is
American possum?
There's a koala bear.
There you go.
He doesn't have a military.
As yet. So the first issue is 24 pages, and in the first issue, as yet, I've only had to draw one toilet.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. There was a shelf, and he was like, "What sort of things should we have on the shelf?" And I was like, "Well, put a devil's toilet figurine firstly." This is a very serious story of love and loss and time travel and all this stuff. There's no room for toilets, but we fit one in.
There's always room for product placement.
Yeah.
Did you see that, Spedsy? Was that comment aimed at Spedsy?
No, I think
that was probably aimed at me. Yeah,
right.
My housemate.
Housemate.
I don't know if she's seen any of the stuff I'm doing. I can't remember. I've lost all sense of time since the lockdown. So.
Oh, that's right. Everyone who's not locked down. Who is not?
Laura, she's in Perth. Laura in Perth, Tasmania. They're free as a bird.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. It's only a matter of time, I reckon. Only a matter of time.
Yeah, you and Tassie. Yeah, Tassie and WA, and that's it.
Yeah, that's right.
South Australia.
We did have someone from Sydney come down here yesterday and then bolt back to Sydney. That was apparently.
Yeah, I was pissed off about that.
Oh well, yeah.
Gates, mate.
I'm joking. No, it sucks being here right now. I'm in the LGA area, so I can't leave the house without a mask, and I've got 5 kilometers limit. Except 1 kilometer away from my house, I'm already out of the LGA area, so that's already less than 5 kilometers. So I can go 5 kilometers one direction, and it won't even get me to Parramatta. So I've got nothing exciting around me, just suburbs.
LGA.
Lombo's place I can't even go and drink at. So
they changed the name shires and councils to LGA now. I've noticed. Yeah, I didn't know what you were talking about.
I thought it was a supermarket, but I've been told
it's IGA.
Yeah, I still don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just up to date. I'm on TikTok, so I know the lingo. So don't worry.
Can't leave the IGA. Can't leave the IGA.
Yes, I'm on TikTok.
I'm on TikTok.
Got to stay with the hip language.
Yeah, I'll hopefully get 100K soon. So I already crossed the 90K barrier, so it's getting there slowly.
Yeah, well done, mate. Doing great.
So I'm going to end the show with a stupid question. What is the most famous car in pop culture history?
Lightning McQueen.
DeLorean or
Chitty Bang Bang.
With kids.
Chitty Bang Bang.
Kit. I say Kit,
Herbie.
damn it.
Herbie.
Oh, Herbie, that's a good one.
Optimus Prime.
The Batmobile.
Martin.
Bumblebee's the car. Either
Yeah,
Volkswagen or Monaro, whatever he is.
Batmobile.
I still say
Mac
Batmobile.
5 maybe?
Batmobile.
What about the Mac 5?
Oh, the Batmobile, of course.
The
Racer.
DeLorean.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
DeLorean.
I did say DeLorean
Right.
before. That's
Oh,
why it
did
wasn't
you?
the first thing I said.
Oh, we weren't listening to you, Alex.
Yeah, I've got you.
That's okay. Okay, you're not the first one. You sound like all my family members and friends. Friends.
We have your mic and camera muted for the sake of our audience. We don't want to get cancelled.
Yeah, you just put me on here for my looks.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this
Yeah. We got another one from the audience. I just got to download it.
Oh, that's great. People
One's
sending them.
from Gene Whitlock. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah. Come on, Gene.
Oh, there it is.
Awesome.
I like the little space planet on his little emblem. That's cute.
Yeah, very
I
nice.
can't see anything. How's everybody seeing? Did you block it?
I don't know.
Rob?
I can't see. Maybe it's a Sydney thing, Alex, because I can't see it either. Maybe.
I'll take it down and put it back up. That worked for Dave before.
Gary, is that disrespectful?
There we
now
go.
that the family crest has been taken off.
As long as it's not Uranus.
Actually, that ring is mighty thin, so it's not Saturn.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. Thanks, Gene. Yeah. While got everyone here, I wanted to do a shout out to Ryan Veller as well. He sent through some artwork that I was going to show, but we can't do it through technical reasons. But he's done a lovely shot of the Flash Damingo and Jackaroo, which is going into the next collection of the stuff that I'm putting together. And he's been doing some mighty stuff these days. Shane, is he doing something with ComX or ComX?
Yeah. He's publishing a trade paperback of the first 3 issues of Turbo Supermax.
Supermax, yeah. Now that is a great character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's an absolute crack up, that comic.
Yeah. He's on the ascendancy, that boy. He's doing some stuff with Darren Close for Old Man Rufus as well. And it's just amazing. I've worked with him recently on a Morton Stone story, which I'm uploading to the net page at a time. And it's just, he's such a great artist. There are some guys in Australia and ladies as well that you think, why aren't they snapped up and making like zillions of dollars on the comic book scene? And Ryan's one of them, and there's a whole swag of it. Killaroo as a character, I don't know why that hasn't been made into an animated series or a feature film or something yet. It's just stupid. But who knows? Maybe sometime in the future. Just have to keep on pushing forward. But just wanted a bit of a shout out to Ryan, as I said I would. But his stuff is just amazing, and the more it can get in print and released out there, the better. Same with Darren Close's Killaroo. More stuff out there, the better. It's all good. Yeah.
Ryan was on last week.
Right. Yep.
On this,
right? Wasn't he last week? Or was it the week before?
No, he has technical
like 2 months
issues.
ago.
He never seems to be able to get on.
He's on temporarily.
You're thinking Bo with you last week.
You might be mixing him up with Bo. Bo was on and off, on and off.
Good old Bo. Yes. Technology.
Bo Jardine was on. Yeah, that's right.
The darkness.
The pressure's on, Alex. Where are you up to?
I need about 48 seconds, and then I'm going to email it to you.
Okay, I'm watching the clock now.
Ever since you announced, Shane, that we pay overtime once it's over the hour.
Dark Side, didn't we do? Dark Side?
Night Side.
Night Side.
That's Bo as well.
This is like a music show I used to work on that went for an hour and 20 minutes. It was only meant to be an hour.
Hey, Dave, while you're there, do you have any plans to do any more of your military history, the Australian history stuff?
Yes, I've just got to dive into the books and start doing the research. I've got the.
Oh man, that's a hard job.
Yeah, it's I want to get it finished. I want to do that second volume, but it's just there's a lot of work in it, and I really enjoy doing the fictional stories, making up my own stories, and I'm doing the amazing tales. I get a lot of fun out of doing them.
Yeah, right.
But I do get a lot of pleasure when I start working on the other as well. But it's just
they're huge projects. Yeah, and then you were the nutter that actually went from landscape format to portrait in your Anzac. Oh man, yeah, I wouldn't have done that. That's just crazy.
Yeah, but I wanted to, because the initial lot was a 500 print run, and they all sold, and they were getting down, and I wanted to make it print on demand, and they wouldn't print a landscape book at that stage, print on demand.
No,
right.
So it was either that, go invest another $5,000 or whatever it was to get another whatever it was printed, or do the hard yards and convert it. So that's what I did.
Have you pitched your Gallipoli that edition to a major publisher? Because I reckon that is a must. Really, that should be. It's so well researched and so detailed that there must be a proper publisher out there that should do the job on that for sure, even in its original landscape format. Yeah,
well, I did. I think Alan and Unwin I might have sent it to, but it didn't get a second glance, I don't think, and that was that. So I just wanted to get it in print, so I just went and did it myself, and I don't know.
Well, now that's thank God for digital printing, and keep it in print because it's an amazing bit of work, and it really does need to be pushed, and it should be like hardcover essential in schools, in libraries, the whole thing. That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, well,
Do it, Dave, do it.
Nice hardcover now, but and I get a lot of people. It's my bestseller when I go to conventions. I sell a box full of them, and I send when I was up at Brisbane in 2019, I think I sold a box and a half. You know, that's 13 in a box.
Yep.
You know,
Okay,
so
Shane, I just sent you the file on thingy.
Yep, thanks.
Thanks, Gary.
It's not finished. It's unfinished. It still needs a lot of still needs fixes. But
Let's do it. How can we help you,
Looks
Dave? Let's,
horrible. Alex, looks
can we
horrible.
can we do a pitch document for you and stuff, and get
I
some
don't know.
samples and send it around?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I'm not much of a marketer or anything.
That's the problem.
Shane, let's get on it.
Oh, Shane, yeah, Shane's on it. Yep.
Yeah,
My
Yeah,
job.
I'll help you.
I'm on
I'll
it.
help you. We'll let's make it happen.
Have you seen the new
Yeah,
version? Have you, Gary?
The new version of
portrait version, yeah.
I've got the landscape one here. I don't have that. No, I don't. I haven't seen that one. No. Is it hopeless? Is it yuck?
No, it comes up really well.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
yeah, it's hopeless.
Yeah.
But it came up really well.
The amount of knowledge and skill in that book is that my brain went, oh, you're kidding me. Yeah. Get the Australian War Memorial to fund an edition that's on sale down there. I mean, bloody hell. Get in touch with them. Geez,
Yeah, well, they were selling it in the shop for me. I used to sell. They were moving a lot of them for me when the old version. They haven't been at this one, but I'll have to approach them again. Melbourne, you know, you have a hit and miss with them because Melbourne Shrine, they sold 2 copies and then they didn't want any more after that.
That's just unpatriotic.
That's right. No, yeah. Well, thanks very much for saying that, Gary. I really appreciate that. And
you should sell out every Anzac Day. Print more and then just sell out every Anzac Day, every Australia Day, every Anzac Day. I mean, man, oh man, it's just this country can be stupid sometimes. Priorities, oh geez. Anyway,
thanks, man.
Cool. We've got Alex now, finally.
All right.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, because we had a bit of a confusion before we went online. Like Shane said that we have to draw the creator of Flash Damingo. So. I just went a little confused. I don't know.
That was a typo. That was a typo.
I don't get drawed very often, and so I'll take that as a win. And I'm glad that I'm taller than him. I'm glad that I'm taller than Flash Damingo.
Wow, that's awesome.
Oh, beautiful.
Why aren't you wearing a mask, Gary? Flash is being good.
I'm in Tasmania. I'm in Tasmania.
Okay, awesome.
Cool. Well, I guess that's everyone. I'll just check the comments because I've been really slack on the comments. One comment that's come through a couple of times for you, Gary, is by Peter Wilson. He's asked a couple of times if you'll sign the book he just from Owner Indy.
Yes.
He's asked quite a few times actually in the comments. So I thought I'd better bring that up so he doesn't complain.
Nice. I think there is
right.
in Owner Indy. There's a little function to have notes or shipping notes or anything like that. Just let us know or drop us an email direct and say, "Hey, can I get a signature?" And that's no worries at all. So yes.
So that's on you, Peter. You did it wrong. You did it wrong, Peter. Okay. Well, we'll finish up there. Thank you, everyone, for coming along. Stick around, anyone who wants to stick around.
That's available on Owner Indy.
Owner Indy, yeah.
Right. Okay. Got it.
Cool.
So and it's GaryChaloner.com as well. Is that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep. CycloneComX.com.au, GaryChaloner.com, Facebook. Usual places. Yeah. All good. Thanks, everyone.
Do you do Instagram?
I really enjoyed
Gary,
myself.
do you do Instagram and TikTok?
TikTok? No.
I'm joking.
I can't dance. So, like, TikTok's not for me.
Yeah, you got the moves. Don't do it back, mate.
Hey, Shane,
That's all I do.
we should probably go around the room and have everyone just sort of plug their wares. That should be a thing.
yeah.
We'll end the show.
And they should dance while they do it.
Yeah.
Dance while we do it. Well, you're first up, Pete.
I've done mine.
I'm dancing
on
below
the
the waist. So.
Where can we find you on the internet, Pete?
I
guess it's Lauren then.
Like your
Peter
Instagram
Street still?
or
No, it's all right. Go on.
OnlyFans.
I'll make a big to do about myself when the issue is released.
okay.
Ooh.
So if you want updates on Pete, come to my Instagram.
Yeah, go to
I'm allowed to show off his stuff. What about you, Lauren?
Well, you can find me on the gram at the Martial Arts, MARSHALL. Or you can find me on Facebook, whatever. Just slide into my DMs. I'm going to help you out. What's up?
What did you just say? Martial arts. Hold on a sec. Last name. Yes, martial arts.
It's actually a pretty badass name.
Nice.
What about you, Brendan?
What's that?
What about
Hey?
you? Where can we find
You
you?
can catch me on Instagram at Created by Kieran, and then on Facebook under Halftone Productions, and also on halftoneproductions.com.au. And you can check out all the work there and pick it up if you like. But yeah.
Awesome. Dave?
I sell my books through Owner Indie.
Yeah.
And so go to Owner Indie. You'll see a lot of great independent artists and creators in there. So if you don't buy mine, have a look at someone else's. And I've got a Facebook page with amazing tales. And that's about it.
And on Instagram, you've got another, you're like, Lauren, you've got another badass pun on your name, Dynamite59, with
me,
die
yeah.
spelled D-Y-E.
That's right.
Nice.
I like it.
What about you, Shannon?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Just look for Shan Studios, SHANNSTUDIOS. Ask for Chris.
No play on the word.
If Shannon ain't there, ask for Chris.
Pete, Peter Lawson, where are you, mate?
Well, yeah, if people are looking for the books, I currently work on Torn for Reverie Productions. It can be picked up through them, of course. And if you want to check out anything else, go to my art page, Pestiferous Picturing the Art of Peter J. Lawson on Facebook, and under my name on the Instagram. And that's it.
I was going to try and say the name of your Facebook page, but I thought it was like Tad's last name.
I actually didn't name it. A friend of mine did. I owe her a picture of the Black Widow for it. So.
N-E-S-T.
Spell it right, Gary.
Alex?
I'm Sloppy Bunny Tunes on Instagram and TikTok. And also, if you I do a regular animated series for American Mexican comedian Felipe Esparza. You might know him from the Eric Andre show and Superstore. He's an actor on that, and he's also
P-H-I-L. Philippe.
That's the one. Yeah, so if you go there, you can see all the animations are done by me. So, and I just had a new episode 2 weeks ago, and after this, I'll be sending off another episode to them. So, and they're like about between 2 to 5 minutes long. Awesome. And on TikTok, it's just TikTok is a girl fighting, and I don't even know what I post on Instagram anymore.
And how many followers have you got on TikTok? Just because we like saying that.
Oh, I love it. I got 90,000 going to 100K, and then I'm going to start
90,000.
90,000, yeah.
I'll join TikTok just so I can follow you, mate. Then I'll
yeah.
Go for it. But my last 3 or 4 clips didn't do too well. Like I haven't had one hit 1 million for about 10. I wanted to drop that, I had to drop. For like about 10 clips haven't now. So. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Just go there, take a look at it, and just bask in the numbers.
I'm at Spedsy on everything on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can buy my books at psychojanitor.com. And you can see me here every Friday with Sizzle. Sizzle, where we find you?
Me, I'm on everything as ComX Net AU. So ComXNetAU. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Pinterest.
I don't think I'm not on. I logged into TikTok to see what it was all about, and I wasn't a fan, so I'm there, but I don't do anything.
And of course, you've got your OnlyFans as well.
And I've got my website as well, which is comx.net.au. So you just put some dots in there.
Awesome.
And if anyone's doing a HSC soon, good luck.
Yeah. Good luck.
Oh, that's soon, is it?
Good luck.
Okay.
Wow.
Awesome.
Especially if you're in lockdown.
But you're doing it from home.
yeah.
It's a lot easier to cheat, right? You can just put all your answers behind the computer and then go like, I don't have 3 iPads.
Is anyone here age compatible for the HSC or the? Yeah.
Certainly not.
No. Cheers. Drinking age.
Drinking age, yes. Well, thanks everyone. This won't help in this one, but for future episodes, so everyone knows, I might get all these details beforehand so I can actually post them so people can see them written down, because some of those names weren't very
Yeah, I'm the same. I've got a weird name that's hard for people to pronounce and say. So
Yeah, I've got them all written down here. It's fine. It's fine for me.
You got them all? You got them all, Gary? You can just email them.
So Gary's going to
so
post them.
I'll scan the piece of paper. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
Well, thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone for coming in.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Gary. Yep. Thank you for a guest appearance.
Gary.
And thank you everyone else for coming and enjoying Flash Damingo. And thanks for those at home. We had quite a few home people from home sending in their pictures, which was nice.
That's right. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Kieran and Pete, welcome anytime. Don't be strangers.
Yeah. Yep.
Agreed.
Issue 2 of Adventure Illustrated's kickstarting in a couple of weeks' time, so keep an eye out for the second issue. That's it's coming. Or Flash Damingo.
Let Sizzle know and he'll advertise, mate.
Yep. I'll actually, before we go, if I can type it fast enough, because this will go to everyone but the Facebook pages. For some reason, it doesn't go to the groups. It goes to the pages and not the groups. Sorry. I can't type fast enough.
Go, Shane. Go.
You can talk while I'm doing this.
don't
Type.
Okay, so this is going to everyone out there. If you go here, it'll take you to the upcoming Kickstarters, Australian Kickstarters, and in there you'll find. Sorry, I thought I did a typo. You'll find all the latest Kickstarters, and Adventures will be in there. Adventure Illustrator will be in there. So you can click on it and get notified for when it starts.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
awesome.
Not a problem. Well, thanks everyone for coming in. Thanks for those at home who sent in their pictures. Thanks for those who sent in their comments, and thanks for those who just watched. And everyone have a great night. Stick around if you want to. And thank you. See you all. Have a good night. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.